What's up, everybody?
Hello.
So we'll let this get started and make sure that it's rolling. Try not to get nervous again. I don't know why. All right. Try not to get nervous. I don't know why I'm so nervous. It's just like doing tech talk, except for we're not really talking. Well, I'm talking, but anyways, we're rolling and looks like we got 4 people here right now. I'm gonna set this down so I'm not holding it because, like I said last time, or back, that we were gonna just roll an hour, and we're gonna do this a series, and we're not really gonna talk. Erin will be looking at her phone, and if some questions come up, we'll try to cover it on the next one. I don't remember if we had any from last time. So tonight's episode 2, and I'm going to teach you how to cut down your car. Not really gonna cut down any certain piece. Hopefully later on, as everything goes and my YouTube channel grows, I might be able to do individual stuff like removing a cowl or cowl sides or a roof skin. I might do individual videos on that as a car comes in and I'm able to do that. Cars that come here generally get a lot more than just one piece, so it's hard to schedule videos like that. But in this build series, I wanted to go over from the beginning to the end of how to build a car and the techniques I use for each part of the build. So that's why if you haven't watched episode 1, then you should go back and watch episode 1. But we are on episode 2 now, and I have a 2nd gen Camaro, 78 I believe. This car was a customer's, and we ended up building him a 78 and turning it into a 71 steel bumper car. So that's enough about all that rambling. I'm not sure if Erin wants to get the camera or not, but I have some tools laid out here, and I was going to pick them up and talk to you about what I have here and what's you have to push the little and what each tool's purpose is. And I might have missed something because I just got off of work at 6 o'clock and I had to get the car over here and in and get the tools laid out, so I might have missed something, but if I did, I will cover it later on in the video. But right now, this is what you need to get started. Definitely need safety glasses. I don't have a respirator over here. I don't wear one, but it's your choice. You can wear one. I'll say for YouTube purposes that you should wear a respirator.
Safety first.
Some gloves. These ain't quite as holy as my normal. I'm gonna just go ahead and put them on. I don't know why. I'm always wearing gloves. Ear protection. I'm not gonna put these on because then I'll be speaking really loud, or maybe not loud enough. I have these kind, and usually when I'm doing this kind of work, chiseling and stuff like that, I usually use these because I'm not welding and I don't have to put a welding hood on. But a lot of times I just use your normal earbuds. I wouldn't recommend using Bose for...
Not next to a pro spot.
Not next to a pro spot. So I have a drill, and I'm a big pilot hole drilling guy. I like to pilot drill with 1/8, something smaller. The 5/16 that I usually use for my spot welds, or when I do my plug welds. Then I have a wire wheel, 3-inch wire wheel on impact. I have my hammer, Martha Stewart. I got my dolly, and I have a right angle grinder with 36. Usually when I'm doing any kind of cut down and getting ready before I do building, I don't really go with like 80 grit or Scotch Brite, but 36 grit. I have a straight angle grinder, die grinder, whatever you want to call it, with a 3-inch 1/8, or this is a 3/16 grinding rock. Always my razor knife, box cutter. I use that when I'm trimming down my wheels. I have a scraper that is just a gasket scraper. They do make a weld buster, and I don't own one. I've never used one that I know of. Might be telling a lie, but I don't think I've ever used one. I've seen them, I've held them, but I've never used it. I use this, and then this is the air gun, Chicago pneumatic. This is the GP714. They are quite expensive. They're about $400 to $700, somewhere around there. I got the quick chuck on it. It's pretty old. And my bit, this is what I like. I hate having a fresh bit, but this is it, and that's the angle I grind it on. I guess you would say about a 45, and I'll show you how I sharpen this. But this is the bit. It's a flat chisel shank round .401, and the part number I guess would be A as in Alpha 046073, and that's what it looks like when it's new. But I like it when it gets down to this, because this was this at one point. So that pretty much covers all this. So I got the Camaro here, and really nervous. So I usually look at what I'm going to cut down on a car. If I was going to replace the quarter panel, I like to look at what I'm going to be removing. I try to get, if I have one in here, I don't. I try to look at the part that I'm going to replace. If I'm going to replace the quarter panel, I look at the quarter panel, make sure you got a quarter panel and not a skin, because the skin's not going to have all the parts that you need to replace it. Some people like to do skins or whatever. I don't. It's just as easy to do the whole quarter or put in the whole part as it is to cut in one and have a lot of body work with it. So I generally take the, I could actually run and grab one real quick. Let me see. There's my, so I had one out here. It's been here for years. This is actually later model or early model, whatever you want to call it. So I get the quarter panel and I look at all the edges of it, and that gives me an idea of how that one is put on and where I need to detach it from. So I can see that this line is up here. I can see it's got a weld line here, down through here. I can tell down here that it attaches, that it sits on top of the rocker, around my wheelhouse, and down my drop off and up to the tail panel. This one's not the same as that one, but it's still close. This quarter panel could actually go on this car, as far as if I end up redoing the back end. But I like to look at the quarter panel and see where everything is. That way it gives me an idea of where I'm going to be removing it. So I got a line here I'm going to remove, wheelhouse, up this, across here there's going to be a seam, and then you got the seam for the back window, across the deck lid area, trunk area, and then down around the outside and back up. So I'm probably not going to remove the whole quarter panel, but I'm going to show you the basics of getting it off and how I do it. I do have one thing that I don't have over here. Hopefully it's in here. And it is a...
Sorry, I'm not chasing him around like normal, guys. My back is out.
Yes, Aaron's back's been out. I didn't do no intro. I didn't introduce aMAYSing. We got Miss Aaron on the camera here. But I have the torch. This is something else you'll need. I didn't have it. I told you I probably forgot something because I ran all around. You'll need this to be able to get in anywhere that there is lead, a lead joint or whatever. So this car, I know there's a lead joint right in here on the roof. So I'm gonna get my grinding wheel and my air. And I'm gonna locate that. I'm gonna put these earbuds, I don't know if I want my earbuds or the ear plugs here. I'll just put these in. They'll stop some. So I'm gonna get up here and I'm gonna find that seam. Sometimes you can look at the edge and see if you can see, but I don't really see it. Looks like right in there. But I'm gonna start cleaning it off. It might have body filler if the car was redone later, or it might be lead. That's body filler. And I was gonna say, I think this is factory car. It's a thick filler right there. So you can see how thick that is. Trying to see, it says something. Never
That's crazy how much filler that is.
Yeah, and it says something on there. Kent Industries or something, but I've never seen that. So I can't tell if it's lead or steel. Usually you can tell the difference in the color. You can actually see right there, there's a difference in the color. I don't know if you can see it on camera,
yeah,
but one should be lead and the other is the steel. Well, I got stuff everywhere on my... so once I get that, I use the scraper and I heat it up. If it's lead, I don't want it to fall on my foot. Bondo too.
Bondo appears to be a little flammable.
It don't look like there's any lead. It looks like somebody welded it right in here where they added that Bondo. They welded and then there was still lead into that. But that's not factory. Now that I moved that, I can see that seam. I can see the seam right there. So I usually get it cleaned off and I go find all the joints that would have lead in it. On first gen Camaro, it's going to have lead on the seam and it's going to have lead in the deck filler, not the deck filler, it's going to have lead in the seam, and I'm trying to think, it's like, that's it, the seam, and then up here in the corners. Putting this thing in here, I pulled my neck. So
he has to try to get hurt when I'm hurting so that we can hurt together.
Yeah, so my neck's like, it's probably gonna be worse tomorrow. I'm just gonna hit it with the wire wheel and clean it up some so I can see. I don't really like all this being quiet and doing this because it makes me nervous.
It is a little different. I'm trying to see if there's some comments to read, but I had gotten behind.
But I'm trying to do it this way, that way anybody that watches it later on are not dealing with the whole live. And then I tend to ramble about stuff that's not pertaining to what we're doing. So if I was going to leave the roof skin and not do the roof, saying that the roof is good and I'm only going to do the quarter panel, I end up, if I can find a Sharpie, get this one right.
Got quite a few people saying that they've learned a lot and they really, really, really appreciate you doing this for them.
Thank you. Thanks for the support.
And we got 46 watching right now.
Maybe one day we'll have 46 million and I can tell everybody about Jesus.
Yes.
So for this scenario, we're gonna say we're keeping the roof skin. And usually when I do a roof skin, you can drill these spot welds out. But a lot of times I don't drill them out and bend all that up. It's so much work, and then you end up having to weld those spot welds anyways, and then there is stitch welds in between. So versus welding all the spot welds up, plug welding them and grinding it, and then having this all bent up and causing more body work, and then still having to stitch and fix all that, I usually drop down below it and I'll cut it about 1 inch below that body line there. So this is the roof panel, and then this is the end of the quarter panel, or not really the end of it, but the end of it comes up into here, but that lip right there. So I usually cut about 1 inch down from where that turns to go up under. So I'll cut it off right here, and when I put my new quarter panel on there, I'll lay it up on top of this, and then I'll get my quarter panel fitting good and get my door gap really good, and then I'll end up cutting through both my quarter panel and the roof or either I will trim my quarter panel where I want to do my butt weld, and I weld both of them. I'll see if I can do. I don't have a marker out here. I'm gonna grab one of Aaron's markers so I can draw on the board. I feel like drawing. So these are dry erase. So I don't know how to draw this. What is all that on my board? What is Aaron done put all over my board? So you got the roof flange, and then you have the quarter panel flange goes underneath it, and it comes out from under it, and then it has a bend in it that steps up. So it steps up, and then so I cut it right here, but then when I lay my new quarter panel on top of it, I got this piece cut. I'm trying to explain how I do it. Quarter panel and then the roof skin. So when I lay the new one on top of it, I end up laying it, and I try to cut it to where it's just below the roof skin but still on top of this. So you can end up trimming this flange off up in here as long as you got a little bit underneath. That way when you come back and weld, you can attach the old skin, the old quarter panel skin, you can attach it to your roof skin and to your new piece. So you got 3 pieces there, and you'll do your weld across it. So you're building a layered piece. I don't know if you can tell what I did. It would be like I'm right here. Got 1, 2, 3. So you would have your roof skin, and I can't
get it in the frame if you get too close to me.
So you got roof skin, you got the old quarter. So you'll trim the old quarter off to where there's only a little bit hanging out from under the roof skin. So when you lay your new quarter, it's on top of it. That way you can weld this to this to this. So you'd have a little gap all the way down it. Or you can cut it off and butt weld it perfectly across it. That's just 2 options that I do. And like I say, I leave enough to cut until I get ready to put my skin on, and then I'll end up cutting my skin and lay it up there. So I'm gonna cut it. I use a cutting wheel. I had to look at the time, because I want to make sure that I cover some other stuff besides just cutting.
You're 25 in.
The roof skin off. So this is just removing the panel. So end up just. Now I know where to cut on this, but before you do any cutting or chiseling, make sure you know what's behind it. Look behind the panel and make sure you're not going to hit anything inside there. Like this has got a panel over it, but I moved it out of the way. But you can see there's nothing back there, so I'm going to trim it off and make sure I'm not hitting anything, because there is brackets like this bracket right here. If I went to go chiseling this off, I could have hit that. You want to make sure that you check behind everything. There's actually something behind here, and then we'll get to that point here in a second. So, it a really lot better. I was trying to get it out of the way.
Up to 50 watching today. I appreciate it, guys.
On that Bondo, I thought I'd cut deeper, but look how thick the Bondo was.
Yeah, that's insane.
So I just removed that to show you that when I was cutting, you see how I cut lightly? And I didn't cut that tab that's back behind there. Even though you couldn't really feel it, but you don't have to like dig down in here. And if you start getting to where you feel a little resistance on your cutting wheel, check and make sure that you're not cutting through something else. So I went lightly across all of it and ended up cutting it. So I was trying to find a spot. I did some chiseling. So there's 3 pieces on here, and if I had a piece of find something. Really, let's see if I can explain it with this. All right, so I want to remove these spot welds here. I want to be able to get the quarter panel off of this, and this kind of mimics that piece. So what I want to do is, this is where my spot welds are. Can you got enough light?
Yeah.
Or do I need to put the light over here?
I can see it.
So what I want to do is feel behind it if I can and see if I have room to chisel. Because what I want to do is I want to take my chisel and I want to go straight in this way. And I want to cut that out off of there, because if you come out here and you cut it, or you don't cut it at all and you try to peel this up, it's hard to get under this and peel it up because it has this break in it, and that break gives it strength. That's why stuff has striations and stuff in it, to give it strength in areas. So if it's curved like that, you can't get under there and push it. It don't want to bend. So if you cut straight in, what you'll end up with is a flat piece on there, and whenever you come in with your chisel, it'll bend up because it don't have no striation in it, causing it to have strength. So as you chisel, it'll just roll up and off. If it's got an angle like this in it, it's not gonna roll.
I like that. That makes sense.
So I'm gonna get the chisel here. Let me grab this striker off. I just want to cover as much as I can, but I don't know.
That's on there.
These are Nippics. You see that? The things.
Those aren't Martha Stewart. They're Granny Smith.
Granny Smith. So they work. It's a Torx, I think T56. I don't ever use it. I'd have to go in my toolbox and do all that. So usually these things are shot and they get replaced anyways. Man, I can't get the thing. If I had a impact, and I should just keep a Torx bit. But it didn't mess it up, as long as you don't like well on it. All right, so I got that out of the way. I've checked behind it. I don't feel anything. And me, I know how to chisel. So I know when I'm hitting 2 pieces and I'm not hitting 2 pieces, and I've done enough of them. Not really too many of these. We're gonna go over to the grinder and I'm gonna show you guys how to grind. I've done it before, but I haven't done it on this series. Move it out so Aaron can get on the side here. I was gonna say, whenever you're using a grinder, step to the side of it when you start it on, because these things have been known to explode, and I like to stand to the side when I start it so that it don't blow up and hit me in the stomach or anywhere. Once it gets to full RPM, then I move over in front of it. This one don't have the guard, so
65 watching.
So what I'm going to do is, I'm shutting it back down so I can put it on there. So what sometimes I like for my bottom to be flat, so you might hit it on your belt sander and flatten and make the bottom stay flat, because sometimes it'll get a curve on it, but you like for that piece to stay flat, so sometimes I'll just make it flat, knock the burrs off. Now when I come on my grinder, I just hold it straight in line at that angle and I put it on there, and I just work it back and forth, keeping that same depth and width on it, and I don't do no rolling or anything. I let the curvature of the grinding rock put that curve in my bit, and it sharpened it. You also don't want to hold it here and sharpen it forever, because when you heat this thing up, it takes away the strength in it for cutting. So if you hold it on there forever and it starts turning, it's not going to last you very long when you go to cutting, because the tip is going to be weak. It's going to get brittle and it's going to come apart. My neck is horrible. I feel like a Herman Monster. So start it up. That wobble. Once it gets balanced, then I go. So I plant my fingers on the side so that I know, and then I take it off, and I have that curve in my bit, and I'm sharp. It's good to keep a sharp bit, but you ain't got to come sharpen it every 10 minutes, because if you do that, you'll be wearing through these things. So I'm gonna dive in here and show you. Now I like the CP 714 because the trigger on it, you don't have to go wide open with it. You don't have to. That don't do nothing. It's kind of like a 2-stroke. If you stay wide open, you're not gonna stay in the pipe and you're not gonna be that fast. So if you keep it in the pipe and just go with it, it's easier to control. You can turn it with your hand and like just work it where you need, and it cuts better. If you're plowing through it, you'll be fighting to get the bit out and all that. So, and you can also tell when you hit stuff that's got multiple layers, because it's not going to want to cut as good as it does. If you're wide open, you'll never know. You'll just cut right through it. So, if you do that, that's what you end up with. So, I was hitting something. I don't know. It's been a while. So I stopped. I'm not going to go taking the whole quarter panel off, but like right there, I hit something. There's 3 pieces of metal here. That's actually the bracket, so I want to float across it and see if I can figure out what it is. So I'm gonna come out here and go off. Let me grab a screwdriver and
see what's behind.
What's behind it. Because I show you that when I hit something, I knew I hit it, and I stopped and I went around it, and you can see it right there. So when I went down through there, I hit it. You can barely tell I did, but I knew I hit something because I wasn't full throttle, and I decided to cut around it. Now I'm back where it's out of it, and I can start doing it. Let's see if I can move this out of the way. It's hard for me to go at this angle with my hand there. So I felt behind it, make sure it wasn't nothing. Also, when you're cutting, if you're full throttle and you're pushing it and you're not letting the tool do the work, whenever you're pushing and you're going along something like this and it slips, your hand's going to go into this and get cut. So all this sharp stuff, and you're going and you slip, it's going to go. So just keep a light pressure on the bit to keep it back into the socket, and just let it work itself. That way if you slip, you're not going very far, and you're not going to cut your fingers up. So you can see right there, it's a little hit. That's where I cut in when I went, and then a little bit right there. But that's nothing terrible. There are some spot welds on here. I wish I could see them, because I want to find some. But I'm going to show how to peel this off now that I've got that flange to where it's not
not stable anymore.
Yeah, it's going to be flimsy. So I try to find a spot weld, which I can see them. I'm not sure if you can. Sometimes I take my wire wheel and I clean. And when I clean, you can actually see the spot welds. So I like to try and chisel there's the edge of it in here. There's 3 pieces, so I try to put my tip on the outside edge and push it out first. I'm not sure if Aaron can come over here and see what I mean. But
oh, there's 3 pieces of metal.
There's 3, and I get this chisel and I come in. Not sure if I'll be able to do it this way, but I put my chisel on that outside, push it, and you can see I'm pushing it and separating it, and then you can tell where the spot welds are. So let me jump over in here a little bit. I can probably get at it a little better. Got my Albert light. He still ain't emitted it, but and then you can just that spot weld's right on the edge, so I just skip around and I get it open. Now I can tell where my spot welds are, and I'm going to dive in. I hate that this thing's making all this racket noise. I don't know if this will stay up here or not. I'm trying to keep it where you got some light. So now I'm just going to go on the side of them. You can try and run it up it, but you don't want, I can't get that way, but you don't want to go out this way with it, because if your spot weld is near the edge, it's going to want to peel the spot weld off and tear it. So you want to cut in to where there's more meat. This thing's horrible. So
It cries.
So get me a little open spot here, and you can try and run up it, but it's digging. So I'm gonna just go around those spot welds. I need to get a different light. Hopefully this is entertaining, and hopefully it's teaching you guys something, or helping you at least.
Yes, everybody is commenting that this is a great help and they're really enjoying it.
So we get a little bit more light on here, so
A little light on the situation.
I like to have light so that I know that you guys can see, because I watch YouTube channels and they're showing stuff and it's horrible. So I just wanted you to see that there's a spot weld, and you can see that spot weld. So I just try to chisel around. And then later you can come back and pop it off. So I'm on the opposite side. There's one right there. So I just chisel around. And just continue on. Then you can come back and hit it, and sometimes they'll come off. That one ain't, because it's so close to the edge. So get them down like that. That was horrible. Then I just get my 36 and it's gonna throw it at Aaron, and I just clean them up. Get my little spot where I boo-booed.
Where you boo-booed?
And then I get my dolly, and if I dented anything, then I just dolly it back out. So I dolly it out and it's clean, and then we'll do all that when we do prepping on the car. I want to show if I can find a different technique of removing spot welds. Let me see if I can find them. Erin's running over stuff. Gonna hurt her back. Maybe we can do it on the root on the top right here. You might have to. We're like old people here. I'm walking around like this, and so
we were helping somebody move, and I picked up a piece just the wrong way.
I'm trying to find a good spot to do this. Maybe right in here. So you could probably get on the lip, the thing here.
Maybe.
I'll get this over here. So we got some light. Oh, Erin's climbing up on the stool, and I'm trying to get some light because I want to be able to see what I got going on here. Alright, so now I got some spot welds. I can see them. I'm going to clean it up a little bit to see if I can make it where you guys can see it a little better. See if I can find another one. There's one in that corner. So I can see there's a spot, one there, one that they missed, one there, one there, and so on. So another way to get those spot welds out is with your drills. So I'm gonna do one with the drill. I'll do these two with the drill, and then I'll do the grinding rock on these. So what I do is my pilot drill, I just drill in it, but I don't want to drill all the way through. Now, if you were going to put this back on the car, or you're saving this piece, but you're doing this cow side, you're going to remove it. So you would just get in the center of it and drill all the way through, because you're going to plug weld that. But if you were spot welding it, or you didn't want your plug welds exposed on this side, but you wanted them on this side, you would do it from the opposite. So I know I'm going to plug weld this back to my cow side when I put a new one on. So I would just go ahead and drill my plug weld out. This is dead, this piece is good. It's going to get plug welded and cleaned back up. Then I get my little, which is probably not going to work right now. Like I said, this is dead. Not really dead, but it's dead. And then I just go in there, and you see it's undone. So now, when I remove this, I'll come back with my dolly. I'll dolly that out. Now, if I wanted to save this piece and not damage, I was saving this piece, but I didn't care about the top piece because it was getting replaced. I want to remove it without damaging this, but I don't care about this. So what I'll do is just put me a dimple in it where I'm not trying to drill all the way through. Then I'll get my bit for my spot weld, and I'm going to drill it. Hopefully this works on this. If it don't, you can always just weld it back up. But I just I actually drilled too far because I pushed on it. Let me go to a different one. Like I said, if you go through, you can always weld it back up. But I'm gonna do this one. I thought my bit was, so a little bit. And I just work this until I make a full circle. But I try not to go dead in it. I try to just rock it around so that I can get my full circle. And I have...
Kind of leaves like a chamfered edge.
Yeah. So, kind of like countersunk, but yeah, I'm not all the way through. So then I have you could probably use an end mill, but this is a drill bit. And I actually flattened it and ended up grinding it to be like this. I need to go grind it because I can tell it's got a little chip. So we'll go over and I'll show you grinding it. Erin don't want to get down because her back.
I can get down. It's just getting back up. It's kind of hard.
Well, you need me to hold you.
Please. Oh, hold on. I need to squat down first.
You want me to get the hammer? Yeah, it's kind of bad, and I'll show you how I sharpen it. So again, away from it, it explodes. Now, if it's straight across, it's flat straight across. So now I'm gonna hold it on the edge where the edge of my rock is at the center point of my drill, and I'm just gonna hold it there and I'm gonna sweep it up. And I've sharpened that one. Now I'm gonna turn it and I'm gonna do the same on the opposite side. In the center, it'll make a little hill. You don't have to really worry about that. That's just gonna help it locate. But when I drilled my pilot hole, then I come back with my 5/16. I drilled it until I got that diameter. Now when I go in with this bit is gonna rest inside of that diameter, and that's what's gonna make it center itself and hold it in that area while I drill that top layer out.
Thank you.
Because all I'm wanting to do is just drill that top layer. I don't want to go through the bottom. And like I say, if it does, it does. And you ain't got to do this every single time. Drill that. You can take this, spot do all the plug, just do all of them. And then your other bit, come back, hit all of them, and then come back with this one on all of them. And then just, and it should be down through there. And you should be able to take the, making sure I'm under it. Pop it up, and you see it. And I'm not through the bottom one. You can see. So I'll go and do that again on this other one right here, and then I'll do a different one up there. So marking it so that this one will sit in there. And I'm gonna get this one and I'm gonna make a full circle so that the other one will ride in it. Oh. Like that. And then it's off. There's that one that's off right there. You can drill it, whatever, grind it. Probably can pry it with this, but as you can see, it came right up. So now it's a loose, except for that one. Now, if you're saving that bottom piece and you don't want to do all that and you're not very good at it, you can take your straight grinder, because we're about wrapping up.
And we're at 56.
You take the straight grinder with your grinding rock by my air, and
You get the air.
I'm just gonna grind around this. And usually when you start to break through the top layer, it'll turn blue because it's gotten real thin and that piece of metal got heated. So usually you can tell if you're about through that piece when it turns blue. Try to do it where I'm not throwing sparks on the camera or at it. When you see it blue, I'm through. And then you can take your chisel, or you can take your hand chisel and just chisel it through, just like that. So then you come back with your dolly, and you can dolly all that stuff out and get your hammer, and you remove the bottom piece or whatever you'd have your dolly under. Obviously this one would be one where this part got destroyed. This would be where this got destroyed. This would be where this part was kept and this part was replaced. And if you wanted, you could straighten all this back up and make it look factory again. So that's really how I do cut down. So I think the next part of the build series, I guess Eric can put the camera up and we'll wrap it up because it's time. We got like 2 minutes, and we'll I gotta help her down here.
I'm crippled, y'all. It's temporary. It's temporary.
And it's like delayed. So
yeah.
If there's anything that I have left out as far as removing the panel, I'm trying to think real quick. Make sure I used everything. So hopefully in future builds I'll be able to do more in depth and actually show how to remove a panel or whatever and replace a single panel. It's just we don't get very many cars in here that get one panel. We usually let the body shops handle those because that's something that any body man should know how to do. This really concludes episode 2 on how to detach spot welds and remove panels the proper way. Like I say, we'll get more in depth as we go along, and our next video on episode 2 might be Friday.
Episode 3?
Episode 3 will be Friday, even though people later on watching this probably won't know what day it is. So probably Friday we'll do it, since it goes pretty quick. And I believe if I don't change up, the next part is going to be on prepping some parts and possibly starting the floor build. So might be prepping parts with a little bit of floor build starting on doing that. So anyways, love you guys. Please like, share, subscribe.
And I did see a comment that we got up to 75 today. That is...
Yeah, that's a record.
That's a record, so thank you guys so much.
That's why I'm trying to do this series, is to be straight to the point and get more people on and let more people know what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to make money off of YouTube. I'm not trying to gain money from anybody. I want to spread the gospel. Obviously, I love Jesus Christ. I love our Lord, and I want to share that, and that will come more as we go into it. But I also don't want to run people off, and I'm not trying to push God on nobody, not trying to push Jesus on nobody, not trying to be that person. I just want you to know I love you, and I appreciate everybody that tunes in. So
after the live feed is over and this post to YouTube, any comments and questions that you have, you post them then, and we'll absolutely get them. I'm going to do my best to go back through and read all the live comments, and any questions that we get, we'll try to answer on the follow-up, the next episode that we do.
Or I might do a question and answers type video
somewhere in between or something.
Yeah, somewhere in between where I answer some questions live, and we kind of, because I miss the tech talk, I miss being able to talk with you guys, but I want to keep this thing where it's entertaining to everybody. I know you guys that watch and comment and we talk back and forth love that, but you also love for us to be here and love for us to work, and this is the fastest way to do it, to where people don't have to go through tons of footage to try and find that good part. So we try to keep the good part the whole time. Love you guys, and we'll see you probably Friday, for parts prep, and unless I change it.
Part 3, either way.
Part 3. Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Thanks
God
for
bless.
everything. See ya.